Have you ever stared at a cup of tea, a takeaway coffee, or a bottle of water and thought this is harmless? Just tea. Just coffee. Just water. Modern science is forcing us to ask a harder question. What if everyday habits are exposing us to tiny plastic particles we can't see, taste, or easily avoid? Today we're talking about microplastics, and even smaller nanoplastics. These invisible fragments are turning up in food, water, air, blood, and human tissues. This isn't a call to panic, it's a call to pay attention, because the future of health isn't only about what we eat, it may also be about what comes with what we eat. Let's start with tea. Tea has long been a symbol of calm and ritual, green, black, herbal detox, sleep blends. But here's a modern paradox. Some tea bags may release microscopic plastic particles when steeped in hot water. Heat speeds the breakdown of plastic polymers, and tea is usually brewed with very hot water. So while heat pulls flavor from the leaves, it can also free plastic particles from tea bags. Part of the problem is that many tea bags look like paper but aren't pure paper. They may contain nylon, PET, polyethylene terephthalate, polypropylene, plastic sealing fibers, or other polymers meant to keep their shape in hot water. To a consumer, it's a tea bag. To a scientist, it's a polymer system exposed to heat. That difference matters. The same issue affects takeaway coffee. Many paper cups are lined with a thin plastic coating to stop leaks. That lining makes the cup useful, but hot drinks can increase chemical migration and particle release. A cup that looks natural may behave like plastic, one of the great illusions of modern packaging. Not every product is the same. Materials, temperature, contact time, manufacturing quality, and storage all affect particle release. But the basic rule is simple. Heat plus plastic plus liquid is not ideal, especially if it becomes a daily habit. A takeaway coffee today, a plastic-lined cup tomorrow, food heated in plastic, a water bottle left in a hot car. Exposure is usually quiet, repeated, and cumulative. What exactly are we dealing with? Microplastics are tiny particles usually smaller than 5 millimeters. Nanoplastics are even smaller and can behave differently in biological systems. Size matters. Larger particles may pass through the gut. Smaller particles may interact more closely with cells and potentially cross biological barriers. That doesn't mean every particle causes harm, but it changes the questions scientists ask. Researchers have detected micro and nanoplastics in human blood, placenta, lung, liver, kidney, reproductive tissue, and even brain samples. This is significant, not because it proves plastics cause specific diseases, but because it shows these particles can enter the body. Once something is inside us, medicine must take notice. Think about the bloodstream. It's a biological highway connecting lungs, gut, brain, liver, kidneys, immune system, heart, and tissues. If micro or nanoplastics reach the circulation, they could interact with immune cells, blood vessels, inflammatory pathways, and organs. Much evidence so far comes from lab studies, animal models, and early human associations, so we must be cautious. Still, the signals are real. One notable human study found microplastics and nanoplastics in arterial plaques and reported an association with higher risk of major cardiovascular events. Association does not prove causation. That's crucial. But it raises a serious question. Could plastic particles contribute to vascular inflammation or worsen existing stressors? Could they be another environmental factor affecting cardiovascular health? These questions are now scientifically legitimate. There's another angle. Chemicals. Plastics aren't just particles. They often carry additives, bisphenols, phthalates, plasticizers, stabilizers, pigments that can disrupt hormones. Some of these compounds mimic or block hormones or otherwise interfere with endocrine signaling. Dose, exposure patterns, and individual biology matter, but plastic exposure is both physical, particles, and chemical. That's why hot beverages deserve special attention. Drinking hot tea or coffee from plastic contact materials increases the chance of heat-driven particle release and chemical migration. This isn't about never enjoying coffee. It's about changing containers and simple habits to reduce exposure. So what can you do? First, don't panic. Awareness beats fear. The goal isn't perfection, but exposure reduction. Avoid pouring boiling water into plastics when possible. Use loose-leaf tea with stainless steel, glass, or ceramic brewing tools. Prefer ceramic or glass mugs over disposable plastic-lined cups. Use stainless steel bottles instead of plastic where practical. Don't heat food in plastic containers and avoid leaving plastic bottles in hot cars. Pay attention to things that look like paper. Many tea bags, coffee cups, takeaway bowls, and food containers are engineered hybrids with coatings, linings, adhesives, or polymer layers. The outside may seem natural, but the inside can behave like plastic. Also consider dietary fiber. Early animal studies suggest certain fibers might reduce absorption or help move microplastics through the gut. Soluble, fermentable fibers form viscous gels, support mucus layers, influence gut barrier function, speed transit, and nourish the microbiome, mechanisms that could theoretically trap or move unwanted particles. Human evidence is limited, so we can't claim fiber detoxes microplastics. Still, fiber is already essential for gut health, metabolic health, and microbial diversity, and it may prove relevant in future research. Practical advice remains the same. Eat more whole plant foods, vegetables, legumes, fruits, whole grains, nuts, seeds, and resistant starches. Remember, the body has defenses: gut barriers, mucus, immune surveillance, liver detox pathways, kidney filtration, fecal excretion. Most ingested particles likely don't enter circulation and are eliminated. The question is whether lifetime exposure is overwhelming those defenses over decades. That's what researchers are trying to understand. Microplastics are not just a personal health problem. They're a systems issue, a design, manufacturing, packaging, waste, and regulatory issue. Individuals can reduce personal exposure, but society needs better materials, testing, labeling, and environmental controls. The best intervention is designing a world where risk is lower by default, not asking people to manage all the risk themselves. At OXYZEN Health Intelligence, this topic matters because it points to the future of prevention. Health isn't only sleep, exercise, diet, and stress. It's also the environment: air, water, packaging, chemicals, light, and noise. Modern health needs modern awareness, not fear, not obsession, but informed choices. So tomorrow morning, when you make tea or order coffee, pause for a second and ask, what is touching my drink? What happens when heat meets that material? Is there a better option? Maybe the answer is simple. Use loose-leaf tea, carry a stainless steel bottle, drink from ceramic or glass, and avoid unnecessary plastic heat exposure. Small changes, repeated daily, shift health over time. Microplastics may be invisible, but the choices that reduce exposure are visible and often simple. The future of health will belong to people who understand not only what they consume, but what their food and drink touch before entering the body. I am Dr. Yende. Thank you for joining me for another episode of OXYZEN Health Intelligence. Remember, your body is always communicating, but sometimes the most important health signal comes from the environment around you. I will see you in the next episode.